Time for the afternoon bulletin news BT on Metro TV. It's the 13th of October 2022. You're welcome to the news. Let's take a look at the headlines now. Media coalition against Galamsey calls for the immediate suspension of surface mining activities to allow water bodies and forests to be restored. Former President John Dramani Mahama demands the immediate slash of presidency budget as part of conditions for a possible IMF bailout. And also in news from elsewhere, the United Nations General Assembly has voted overwhelmingly to condemn Russia's attempt to annex 4 regions of Ukraine. Follow us on our social media platforms. Facebook is Metro TV Ghana, and Instagram and Twitter is Metro TV_GH, and also on DSTV is channel 277. Now, the media coalition against Galamsey wants government to, as a matter of urgency, order all small-scale and surface mining activities to stop immediately to allow water bodies and forests to be restored. A statement issued by the coalition stressed that it's critical for the government to strategize a way to bring sanity to all surface mining activities in Ghana. Let's get onto the screens and get details, understanding of the demands by the coalition. So the detail says that media coalition against Galamsey order all small-scale and surface mining activities to stop immediately to allow our water bodies and forests to begin to be restored and strategize a way to bring sanity to all surface mining activities in Ghana. Ensure that the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 at 2703 as amended is enforced without fear or favor. Powerful people involved in Galamsey activities in the country should be exposed and sanctioned to be served as a deterrent. Now, it goes on to say that arrest, investigate, and prosecute everyone involved in the illegality, including the Akonta Mining Limited and its directors, Bernard Enchibuesiako and Kwame Enchi, for illegally mining in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve, as well as breaching Section 99, Clause 6 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703, as amended by mining very close along the banks of the Tano River. Now, sack any MCDC in whose area of jurisdiction illegal mining has taken place and still continues based on evidence on the ground. Ministers and their deputies whose responsibility is to regulate the mining sector have failed Ghana, and they must also be sacked for disappointing present and unborn generations. Explore the provision of gainful alternative employment persons engaged in the Galamsey. Ensure that the above punitive measures are implemented before Farmers' Day this year, as these activities directly impact adversely the efforts of our gallant farmers. All right, so those are sections of the statement as released by the media coalition against Galamsey. Let's do some more stories. 187 persons have been convicted and sentenced to various terms of imprisonment in the Eastern region since 2017. This is according to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfrey Yeboah Dame, who noted that the convicted persons include 29 nationals of Niger, 7 Nigerians, and 3 Chinese.
The accused persons were tried and sentenced to the maximum custodial sentences allowed under the law or close to the maximum. The Attorney General, however, expressed displeasure with the decision of the Circuit Court in 5 of the cases involving the trial of 47 persons. According to him, the ruling was contrary to the new Act 995, which increased the penalty for engaging in illegal mining operations and illegal trading in minerals. He indicated that he would resort to higher court to ensure that the accused persons are punished under the new Act 995. The Attorney General further noted that an update on the prosecution of illegal mining cases in other regions, particularly Ashanti, Western and Greater Accra regions, will be provided in due course.
Let's do some more mining. Government has vowed to clamp down on foreigners and Ghanaian kingpins who are financing the activities of illegal and small-scale mining. According to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, the Attorney General collaborating with government security apparatus to arrest and prosecute these persons. He has been giving an update on government's renewed fight against Galamsey in a press conference this afternoon.
To do with illegal small-scale mining, which are all still being implemented. As you know, we have declared river bodies as red zones, and therefore mining is not allowed in the river bodies of our country. We've suspended recognizance and prospecting activities in forest reserves, except in exceptional circumstances. We've placed a ban on the manufacture, sale, and use of champagne, which is the notorious, very destructive equipment which is used for mining on the river bodies of our country. The procurement of speedboats to patrol the river bodies of our country has been done. The recruitment of river guards to support the protection of the river bodies of our country is very much on course. The introduction of mercury-free gold catcher, which is the equipment which is used to extract gold from the ore without the use of mercury, and which is the internationally accepted equipment for responsible small-scale mining, which has regard for the environment. The establishment of 83 small-scale mining committees in all mining districts in the country. And I should say that this is truly remarkable and indeed phenomenal. This is the first time we've been able to inaugurate these small-scale mining committees across the country, and they've all been established, chaired by MMDCs, with representation from all the stakeholders at the local level, the police, the chiefs, the assembly people, and all of them have been put together and inaugurated across all the mining districts of our country. We are aggressively revamping community mining schemes across the country, because we've come to the firm conclusion that one of the tools we should deploy in order to be able to regulate this industry of small-scale mining is the community mining scheme. And when I say community mining scheme, I'm talking about a community mining scheme which has regard to the environment and which adheres to the strict protocols of environmental preservation. And those are the community mining schemes we are rolling out, and we are really moving forward with them. They are supposed to be owned by the communities. They are supposed to have sick bays, for example. They are supposed to have changing rooms. They are supposed to have an environmental officer on site who will ensure that the operations of the mining scheme adheres to the protocols of concurrent reclamation and revegetation. And so far, the community mining schemes we have launched largely are adhering to these protocols. So we've done that.
Now, still on mining, coordinator of National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, Dr. Louise Carol Sewa, says her outfit is working towards reclaiming abundant Galamsey pits and projects which are at various stages of completion. She spoke earlier on Good Morning Ghana.
We are reclaiming 1,000 hectares of land, and that is in Ankobra, Birim, and Pra. communities,
what
along
exactly
the
are you doing?
banks.
How are you doing it? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
so I always say that, when people hear about land reclamation, once they see the undulated lands, you see that there are very, very deep pits, Yeah, so for instance, you see on the screen
Yes.
that, we have all this water in very deep pits,
Yeah.
right? What they do is that they extract that. So land reclamation is not just about getting sand and putting them in these pits, no. First, there has to be an environmental analysis, which EPA does. We need to know the level of contamination, what pollutants there are in the soil. And we do that because afterwards the land has to be put to economic use. And so we do that environmental basis. There are environmental specialists, geoscientists who are on the field with project managers doing the extraction of the pollutants from the soil. Then there has to be, there is also a side where, like, let's say, the architects, they have to reconstruct the land because you see, it's like stairs. It goes up, it goes down, and it's not leveled. So they have to have some drawings on how to reconstruct the land. Part of the reconstruction of the land is to be able to determine whether we should still continue to have the water pass through the same stretch, if I may call it so, that it used to pass, or should we redirect the stream from, where we feel that people will still come and tamper with it.
Now, staff from Metro Mass Transit Limited on Wednesday began a sit-down strike demanding the immediate removal of the managing director and 2 other deputies. They are also, by this protest, requesting the unpaid 3-month salary will be engaging the head of communications at the Metro Mass Transit. But first, let's listen to the aggrieved workers.
Unfortunately, the people that he appointed to take care or to be caretakers of Metro Mass are sinking this company, and we cannot sit and look idle whilst these things are happening to us. That is why we decided to let the president know that Metro Mass is sinking. We had the opportunity to meet with the board on September 6th. We had an interaction with them. The next day, I called the board chairman and I asked about our grievances that we presented to him. He told me that he wants to put up a committee to look into those issues. In fact, I have called him afterwards, and I think that it's politics as usual.
The document talks about deductions that are being made from our own salary, which that deduction, if it's not being made, it will be added on our salary when it's being paid into our account. But this is the issue that when it's been deducted, are not been sent to where it's supposed to be sent to. So this thing has continued from 2018 to this now, and it's affecting those who have gone on pension. Some, because of that, you have gone on pension. All these things have not gone. So at the end of the day, when you go to your, the Senate and wherever you are supposed to go and take all these things, some of them that they go, they don't get, interest on it. And some, they don't even get it at all because the payment has not been made for them to get a check and give it to them.
My colleague Elvis Ando leading that story. Now, George Asante is the head of communications at the Metro Mass Transit Limited, and he joins me on the phone for a conversation. George, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Right, thank you for your time. So, explain to me what you think the managing director is not doing right that is forcing the staff to call for his head.
Opportunity given to me. Let me say good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, our management of Metro Mass were hit with a sit-down strike by our staff. And personally, it came as a surprise to me because every single worker here in Metro Mass would appreciate that the company is faced with some challenges. And the challenges that we are faced with is not the making of the managing director nor any other management member. We are currently running a transport company, and per the sector standard,
when you are running a transport company, the ratio at maximum should be 6:1. What it means is that for every single bus, 6 workers are supposed to be fed by the bus. But in our current situation, we are having a ratio of 16:1. Currently, nationwide, we are operating 187 buses, and we are using these 187 buses to feed work population of 2016. That is where the challenge is. If you recall, for the past 5 or 6 years now, maximum every 2 years, we've been changing managing directors, but we come back at square one. We change managing directors, we bring in a new one, and then the same situation reoccurs. That should tell us that the situation or the problem that we are faced with as a company is not the inefficiencies or ineffectiveness of the managing director, but as a company, we're supposed to make conscious efforts of getting new buses. Currently, out of the 187 buses that we are running, 144 of these buses were the buses that were given to the company by the intervention of this same managing director we are talking about. And I personally would want to even put on record that had it not been by his intervention, the company would have been closed down by now. This is something I want the workers to appreciate. Annie, since the outbreak of COVID, you realize that most giant transport companies, especially the airlines, transport companies, road transport companies, many of them laid down a lot of their staff. But because Metromas is a pro-poor policy, Metromas is a company that is not profit-driven, a company that is actually there to create employment for Ghanaian youth. Management of the company decided that we are not laying off any staff. So as we're speaking, even though we are faced with this many challenges, we are faced with the challenge of inadequacy of buses. We have not deployed a single staff because of the situation we find ourselves. We are managing the situation. We are doing our possible best, so at least we will be able to bring in new buses so we change the fortunes of the company. My dear, the problem is that we have a wage bill of 3.9 million Ghana cedis. And we are currently running buses that at maximum we can only accumulate or raise just a little above 2 million. There is no way you can pay all of your expenses in full. So what we do is that for every month we manage to pay for fuel, and then we manage to pay for the next salary of workers. Now the question we must ask ourselves, what can be the lasting solution to this challenge that we find ourselves as a company? And that is what the managing director and the management we are working at. We are working in ensuring that we bring in new buses. If you remember, Metromas started as a partnership between the Ghana government and the former President Kufuor and the Dutch government. When in 2008 there was a change in government, the new administration sacked the managing director who was there at that time. But when this administration came, we've managed to revive that relationship that we are currently having, the relationship that existed between our company and the Dutch government. And the arrangement is that in the next 5 years, we are going to take delivery of 500 VDL original buses with a program such that every month, every year, 100 of these buses will be given to the company. Just last March, we commissioned 45 of those buses, and we are looking forward that in the coming in a month or two, the remaining 55 will be given to the company. Then the company and the board, together with the ministry, is also making arrangement for acquiring about 300 more buses. So the projection is that from now till mid of next year, all things being equal, we are thinking of bringing in about 400 new buses to augment our fleet size. And if that is successfully done, then we can raise enough revenue to be able to pay in full all this commitment. Exactly. That aside, the questions or the
since you're looking at new ways of turning around the fortunes of the company, if you continue seeing it as a pro-poor company and you're not looking at profit making, how are you organizing funds or revenue to bring in more buses? Where are we going to take the money from to do that in feeding the company?
Annie, that is a fantastic question you're asking. You see, even apart from what I have already outlined, even within just this year, you can imagine the number of times fuel prices have increased. But Metromas, we are not allowed to increase our fares at any time fuel prices change. This is a company that is regulated by strict conditions. It is not as if the managing director or management, we don't want to also change fares. But such directives have to be given by central government through the Minister for Transport. And until that directive is given, you cannot you cannot increase your fares. Meanwhile, we buy fuel from the same fuel markets. So the company is faced with certain challenges. That is not the making of the managing director. Like I mentioned earlier, we are running, ideally by now, if Metromas was to be managed by any private person, I am sure about 2/3 of the current workforce would have been asked to go home. But in our current situation that we find ourselves, we are not allowed to do that. Management is not even considering that because we don't want to worsen the condition that, the unemployment condition that we find ourselves as a country. So I expect that workers will bear with management, appreciate the difficulties that we find ourselves, and understand that this is not the creation of any single person. If that was the case, then since time immemorial that we kept changing managing directors, then I'm sure by now the problem would have been resolved. But we change managing directors, we come to square one. It is just because we need to understand the problem and probably find a possible or a proper and a lasting solution to it. And by providing a lasting solution, we need to have buses to augment our fleet size so that we can operate at an optimal level.
To solve the immediate problem, when are we going to pay workers?
And even with the allegation that is out there, workers some of them are talking about the management not able to pay full salary for 5 years, which is highly unfounded and untrue. Others are also talking about 6 months. Others are talking about 2 months. But the fact of the matter is that currently we are owing salary of 2 months. And even with that, the month of August, a section of the staff have received their salaries. We've started working on payroll, and all things being equal, by Friday, we are supposed to finish with August salary. And if that is done, then, of course, if there should be any salary arrest, it will be for the month of September. But, Annie, Metromas is a 100% IGF company. We deploy buses, we work and mobilize to pay workers. Now, workers are saying we are not moving the buses. The projection was that by Friday, we should be able to finish August salary based on buses that will be deployed on daily basis. And since yesterday, workers are not working. Today, a section of them are not working. And if this should continue, then of course we will not even be able to meet the Friday deadline. And they cannot blame anybody because they understand that this is a 100% IGF company. We only have to deploy buses, mobilize revenue, and take care of ourselves. So if drivers are saying we are not moving their buses, and the same drivers are asking you that you need to pay them, where do you find the money to pay them? And let me also put this on record. You see, internally we have our procedure for doing some of these things. And as labor law clearly stipulates, anytime workers want to undertake some of this strike action or industrial actions, is supposed to follow due process. You need to serve management with notice, and management have to respond. Management should be given the opportunity to explain the concerns you have raised. Right. None of these things happened. Right. So I am personally not surprised that the junior staff divisional union is saying they are not part of the activity that is going on. The divisional junior staff union hasn't sanctioned any strike action. Right. And by that, what it means is that if you are a conductor, if you are a driver, or if you are a junior staff member, you are not supposed to be part of this exercise. So I'm not surprised other depots are working. Right. When you go to Eastern Region, Koforidua, right. buses are on road. They are working.
For the sake of time, we'll leave it here. We'll get back to you and see how far you're going with this battle. We hope that Metromas will not run aground. George Asante is the communications director for the company. Let's hope that the workers will understand the situation and go back to work. But before we take a breather, let's go through our 3 facts for the FIFA World Cup coming up. Says that the winning team at the 2022 World Cup final will receive $42 million in prize money in 2018. The winner, France, received $38 million. And the second one says that the country with the smallest population to ever compete in the World Cup is Iceland, population of 334,000 people. Now, the biggest ever loss in the men's World Cup competition was by Salvador at the hands of Hungary in the 80s. So those are your 3 facts for the World Cup. let's take a breather on this news. We'll be back with some more.
States categorically that since time immemorial, the Ashedes have never been part of the struggle of ownership.
Welcome back to Newsbeat. Let's do some more stories. The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah is expected to meet traders of the Edum business community today. The meeting has been necessitated by an ongoing protest by the traders who are lamenting that they refer to as what they refer to as high taxes on their businesses. The traders in Edum have since Monday closed their shops, while others in the area, such as Bantama, have replicated the action. The minister engaged officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority on Wednesday over the concerns of the traders. Some businesses in Kumasi have not been operating for the past 3 days in the process of uneven implementation of value-added tax. The protesting business community have complained that the tax structure and its administration do not support the features of the fast-moving goods market. Now let's go to the Ashanti region and speak with Metro TV's correspondent Abdul Basit Suleiman, who is currently located. Basit, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. What is Mr. Osei-Mensah saying as the minister meeting the traders? What's he saying?
Yeah, good afternoon, Annie, and good afternoon to our viewers. Yes, there was a scheduled meeting between the Ashanti Regional Minister and the Edum Traders Association, but unfortunately, the minister could not meet them today. The meeting has been rescheduled to tomorrow because the minister is meeting with Ghana Union Traders Association together with Traders Advocacy Group today, who are the mother body of the Association of Edum Traders. So after that, the minister would meet the Edum business owners tomorrow to deliberate the way forward on how to resolve their 4-day sit-down strike. So right now, as I'm speaking with you, the minister is in a crunch meeting with these two bodies, but the meeting with the Edum traders has been rescheduled to tomorrow as I speak with you right now. And
the minister is, also, having some communication with GRA. Is he not doing anything or having same communication with the finance ministry?
Yeah, initially, even the GRA even met with this traders union, trying to convince them to resign their decision of going back to work. But the traders said until their demand is being met, they are not going back. The minister met the GRA to find out the modalities that they can put in place to ensure that the traders go back to work. And moreover, I understand after meeting with the traders and he got more information with it, he also liaised with the finance ministry to see how best the two of them could.
So how are the traders coping with their shops closed? Hello, Basit, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so we're trying to have an interaction with Abdul Basit, who is currently located in the market, and traders, obviously, timelines haven't been given as to when they're coming back into their shops. But we'll follow up and bring you some more updates, and that's also the information he gave us with the minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, meeting the traders who are currently on strike. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama wants the budget of the presidency to be reduced ahead of the possible IMF bailout, with expected cuts in expenditure as Ghana seeks a bailout from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Former President John Dramani Mahama wants presidency to clean up the House first. In an interview with VOA Africa, John Mahama said the presidency needed to show the way in the face of economic problems facing the country.
If government is able to reach accommodation with IMF, which will be dependent on if they're able to reach agreements with our creditors, because of the debt must come to sustainable levels before the IMF will give you a program. And so if they're able to do that, then the IMF will give Ghana is looking for $3 billion. I don't know how much the IMF is going to give, but anything between $1.5 billion and $3 billion would help shore up the reserves. You are going to cut, they are not going to cut. You get my point? And so if you're spending too much money on something, you have to decide whether you think that is critical expenditure that you want to keep. And you agree with them, we're going to bring the deficit year on year down, the budget deficit down to, let's say 6%. I'm just assuming that. What do you need to cut to attain 6% budget deficit? That's the program you have to send to the IMF. And when you send it and they agree with you, then that's it. But they are not going to, before they used to impose conditionalities, you have to cut subsidies to education. You have to cut subsidies to healthcare. You have to do so and so. Now they don't do that. They let you determine where you want to cut. And if I have to recommend, I think the first place to cut would be the Office of the President budget, to show the way that, look, I mean, if the President himself is cutting the budget of Office of Government Machinery, then it means everybody must be prepared to make a sacrifice.
Now, the police have arrested 3 suspects in connection with the Dompem chieftaincy-related disturbances, which resulted in severe injury to 1 person and damage to properties. Now, the suspects Ibrahim Isa, Atanga Peter, and Asomba Emmanuel were among a group of people who went on rampage and inflicted machete wounds on the victim, who is currently on admission receiving medical attention. The suspects who also destroyed some properties belonging to some individuals in the town. The police have since restored calm in the town, and efforts have been intensified to get the remaining suspects arrested to face justice. The Asafwache of the Adel State in the Nkwanta South District of the Oti region has called on the Regional Police Command to bring to book all the perpetrators involved in the shooting incidents that left 2 persons dead. According to Nana Bandre, the Nkwanta Township has no known peace due to the conduct of some youth from the neighboring towns.
Dele states categorically that since time immemorial, the Ashodes have never been part of the struggle of ownership of Nkwanta Township and its lands. When the Nkwanta South constituency chairman to the MPP, the Honorable Larry Yao, is an Adele. We also call on the regional police headquarters, OT, to be professional, proactive, diligent, and impartial in the execution of their mandate. We call on the President of Ghana to immediately revoke the appointment of Honorable Bright Lengwa as the MCE of Nkwanta South, the paramount chief of Adele, sensing another potential threat to peace and security in the area, wrote to remind the Nkwanta Municipal Security Council, the Oti Regional Security Council, and the National Security, as well as the presidency, on the conduct of the Achede paramount chief. How come almost 7 months down the line, nothing has been done? We want to put it on record that since the installation of Nana Obombon Sewura Lukura II in 2014 as paramount chief of Achede, and also the coming in of the new Patriotic Party government, and the new Patriotic Party government having made him chairman to the Lands Commission in the Oti region, his activities have raised a lot of peace and security concerns in the entire Nkwanta South municipality. The 6 persons who sustained gunshot wounds are in various hospitals within the Oti region, with one in a critical condition at the Volta Regional Hospital, who, it must be emphasized that all these incidents have been reported to the Ghana Police Service.
Now, the founder of the Heavyweight Ministries International, Nana Agradaa, has been denied bail again by the courts. My colleague Elvis Andrew is standing by for more details on the development. Elvis, you're welcome to Newsbeat. Good afternoon to you. What can you tell us? How did the court proceedings go?
Okay, Annie, thank you very much. So today's argument was based on the fact that the lawyer for Nana Agradaa, earlier popularly known as Nana Agradaa, okay, actually, the fact was that the prosecution's accusation of being not able to help with the investigation when granted bail is false, and also the court should look at the fact that Nana Agradaa is a mother and has a minor, and also look at the mental agony that the children are going through since it's been 5 days that the children have not seen their mother. The lawyer also further argued on the fact that prosecution is not doing any investigation but fishing out for investigations, to which prosecution opposed to it strongly by saying that when the court grants a bail application for Nana Agradaa, she would interfere with investigations or the evidence collected so far. And then also, 6 of the counts are considered as felony. So Nana Agradaa is not actually going to help with the investigation should she be granted bail. And also, there are findings from today's TV, which is the media house which Nana Agradaa operates. Findings have revealed that they work per the instructions of Nana Agradaa. So obviously, Nana Agradaa is likely to go back to that media house and probably go to do anything that she wants to do with the instructions, and the TV station would act per the instructions of Nana Agradaa. So the court should not grant the bail application as being pleaded for, to which the lawyer for Nana Agradaa sharply objected to that and said that no, the lady has been in police custody for 5 days and deserves to at least enjoy that right to a bail. But the court sat over this argument and then decided that no, it fears that the complainants are vulnerable, and also when the accused is granted bail, would pay the complainant off, which would hinder investigations carried on so far. So based on that, the court did not grant Nana Agradaa bail and adjourned the case again to October 17th. So Monday, we are likely to come back in court. Now, let me paint a picture of what happened actually around the court premises. Today, we saw a large crowd coming in, and also half of them we counted are church members of Nana Agradaa, and also some delegation led by Nana Agrada's brother, who was seen around the court and also singing with some church members with the hope that Nana Agradaa is okay. But Nana Agradaa herself looks very okay, does not look distressed. She is okay, that trial is going on, and hopeful that on Monday when she comes to court, definitely she would be granted the bail as being pleaded for by her lawyer.
Right. Thank you, Elvis, for the details. Serve us with it for the subsequent bulletins. Thank you for that. Elvis and my colleague in court, but let's still stay with the court. And the Accra High Court, presided over by Justice Charles Gyamfi Danquah, has awarded damages of 500,000 Ghana cedis against NDC's National Communications Officer, Sammy Gyamfi, who was sued for damaging Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, Minister for Energy and MP for Menchia South constituency, at a press conference in June 2019, when he claimed that the one Seydou Yakubu, suspected of being involved in the kidnapping of the 2 Canadian girls in the year 2019, is the errand boy of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. The court also ordered Sammy Gyamfi to publish a retraction and an apology. Time for business news. And in business, International Monetary Fund, IMF, has projected that Ghana will end the year with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 90.7%. This was captured in a fiscal outlook report released on the sidelines of the ongoing IMF World Bank annual meeting in Washington, D.C., USA.
Also forecasts that the debt to GDP could reduce to 87.8% in 2023. According to the IMF, revenue expressed as a ratio of GDP could also hit 14.1% at the end of 2022. It will subsequently increase to 14.7% in 2023 and 15.4% in 2024, the report said, classifying Ghana as a low-income developing country. Ghana is currently undergoing debt sustainability analysis with the IMF and the World Bank. This is expected to help the country ascertain the true levels of the debt stock. The country was recently classified as a high risk of debt distress by the World Bank and IMF in its debt sustainability analysis. The two Bretton Woods institutions are currently conducting a new sustainability debt analysis on Ghana, a situation that could influence the outcome of an economic program with Ghana by the end of 2022. The World Bank, in its Africa Pulse report released in October 2022, projected that Ghana will end 2022 with a debt-to-GDP ratio of 10.4%. By this, Ghana's debt stock could go above the projections made by the IMF. The increase could be linked largely to the cedi depreciation and review of payment terms for some loans as well as new borrowings by government.
Now, an energy expert, Kwadwo Nsafwa-Poku, says the GENSA-GNPC deal should be abrogated. He believes that the deal rather will cause financial loss to the state as the terms of the agreement have not been properly defined in the interest of the country.
That exists now between GENSA and GNPC, what the civil society space is calling for is an abrogation of that contract, because the current price at which GNPC is selling the gas to GENSA makes government lose money. The GNPC GENSA deal gives the gas to GENSA as 2.7. Okay, all the power companies like the of Car Power and Asogle and everybody is paying 6.08. Now, you cannot say that the company is an industrial company and you're going to reserve capacity on their pipeline, more or less give them like a refund for the investment that they are doing, okay, to reduce the price of gas for them. It is a regulated market, and Energy Commission stated that in a letter in 2019, that you cannot discount a regulated commodity. Okay, so if GNPC wanted to give them a discount, what they should have done was that give them the discount as a refund to the investment. What that would have done is that in the long term, the state will own the gas pipelines. You understand? Because you've invested money in the pipelines. You are giving a discount on the gas that you are using since of the investment you've made. After you have recovered your investment plus, then the money is paid back. The gas pipelines belong to the state. GNPC did not do that. GNPC comes out to say that they are reserving capacity. My analogy to that is that there's a car which goes to Kumasi. If you sell the fuel to that car and that person said, okay, give me fuel, after a while, discount the fuel. It's okay, if I discount the fuel, maybe after a while, the discount can buy the car. You don't decide to look at the option of buying the car with the discount. You decide to reserve a seat in the car, that anytime I want to go to Kumasi, that seat I will sit in for free. But if the discount you are given in the long time, you own the car. Why are you worried about the seat?
We'll bring you comments also made by the board chair of GNPC, Freddie Blake, subsequently. You're still watching News BT on Metro TV. Let's take a breather. We'll be back with sports.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Theo John Quartin. It's time for sports. Liverpool put 7 past Scottish champions Rangers in the Champions League last night. Let's bring results of that one and others. You see on your screen, Napoli were 2 match for Ajax. They beat them by 4 goals to 2. Like I told you earlier on, the English Giants put 7 past Rangers, ended 7-1. In the Spanish capital, Madrid, it ended goalless between them and Belgium side Club Brugge by Leverkusen were home, but they were embarrassed by Porto. 3-0 ended. In Catalonia, it was Barcelona and Inter that drew 3-3. PSV were home by Bayern Munich, who had too much for them, managed to beat them by 4-1. Sporting were home. They were embarrassed by Marseille. 2-0 ended. Then, in the English capital, Tottenham Hotspur, led by Antonio Conte, managed to beat German giants Eintracht Frankfurt by 3-2. From the men, let's get to the boys. But tonight is Europa League. Those are the fixtures on your screens, including Hannover playing against Zurich. Bodo will welcome Arsenal. Then Dynamo Kiev, despite all the troubles in Ukraine, will take on Rennes. Union Berlin will welcome Malmo from Sweden, while Real Sociedad will see what they can be. Sheriff, these and others, including Manchester United, who seems to be in a fine form now, they also be in action. Meanwhile, yesterday, it was a time for the women because the Women's Premier League, known as the Malta Guineas Women's Premier League, was launched here in Accra. We'll bring you subsequently in our bulletins. My name is Phil John Quarty. Nanaya is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment News is next. My name is Nanaya Tanobwache. Now, as many people perceive Ghana Party in the Park to be the platform for Ghanaian artists to perform and grow into the UK market, CEO of Aquaba Group, Dennis Tewia, has explained the main motive behind the popular Ghanaian festival and also revealed how the Ghanaian community helped push African music.
Ghana Party in the Park is an annual outdoor festival held in London for the Ghanaian community in the diaspora, and it is hosted by Aquaba Group since 2005. Over the years, the Ghana Party in the Park has proved to be the platform of choice for Ghanaian artists looking to cement their place in the UK market. The likes of Sarkodie, Fuse ODG, Stormzy, Sway, Kiddy, Kwame Eugene, Yao Talk, Kamido, and many more artists have all performed on the stage. Speaking exclusively on Metro TV's Entertainment Review, CEO of Aquaba Group, Dennis Tewia, talks about Ghana Party in the Park Festival, which has been centered on celebrating Ghanaian culture and lifestyle, but not based on artists' performances like most people perceive it to be.
Ghana Party in the Park is not based on artists. Yeah, that's one thing we've focused on, not making it based on artists. It's more on what you come there on the day you get. It's about celebrating our culture, our lifestyle. You could come to Ghana Party in the Park, you could go to the food vendor, who's somebody who's demanding for food. You could go to the Kenke corner, you could buy beads, you could buy Ghanaian.
It's like a whole festival sort of.
So the whole festival is based, is based about what we are missing here in Ghana. The concept came from, a lot of you may not know, but Ghana, we used to have a place called Meet Me There, Labari Beach. On the 1st of July. I don't know if it's still happening.
I've heard that.
So that's where it came from. So even when we started, the name was Meet Me There. Then we rebranded it to Ghana Party in the Park. So it's everything that we are missing from Ghana, Debo of Chiefs. You know, you get people dressing in there in Toma. You know,
all the regalia.
And then you get non-Ghanaians coming there to take pictures.
Dennis also spoke about how the Ghanaian community supported and pushed African sounds in the UK for it to be accepted into the mainstream music industry.
If you want to go back as far as to the likes of Daddy Lumba, how much they did, Nana Tufo, Pat Thomas, A.B. Crenso, Bessa, I could think of even Osibisa. You know, those were the music we were playing at that time. Gradually got changing when you had the TikTok. Exdo, you know,
the hip life era.
The hip life era. You know, TikTok, Exdo, Lord Kenya,
Reggie.
I'll tell a story about Reggie very soon. Some of Ochame, the Ochame group.
Achame.
You know, Papa Shi now, Reverend. You know, so that generation, Kokoveli Trinity with Samini at the time, that generation of music managed to make the magic for us because.
Before we end entertainment news, let's look at our tidbit for Breast Cancer Day.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is proudly brought to you by Reflux Sanitary Pad and Baby Pull-Up Diaper and Give Us Floor and WC Cleaners.
Watch your dietary choices. Eat healthy diets that are high in fruits and vegetables. Together, we rise.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is proudly brought to you by Reflux Sanitary Pad and Baby Pull-Up Diaper and Give Us Floor and WC Cleaners.
And that's all on entertainment news. Annie, together we rise.
Indeed, let's rise together. So we check our breasts regularly. Right, so let's take the international stories now.
Uganda's president has directed traditional healers to stop treating people during the ongoing Ebola outbreak that has so far killed 19 people in the country. The president also directed security officials to arrest people suspected of having contracted the virus if they refuse to go into isolation. There have been 54 confirmed cases